Oh, yeah, that's right. You got to sneak in on it, don't you?
Do a sneak attack.
Okay.
Oh, but this isn't working well.
We're really smart when it comes to computers. Just so you know,
Oh,
Rick.
I know why.
Oh, now
So,
Bud's
talk loud.
Talk loud? Why?
Yep, do your sponsors. I gotta get the other adapter.
Oh, jeez, Bud. Anyway, so we're doing our sponsors quick on take 3 for tonight.
Yep.
We have Morning Sun Marketplace out in Thomasville, Pennsylvania. I need to write Thomasville down because I'm going to forget it one of these days. With Rick and Sue Fritz. We got Hawk Wings up in Jackson, Minnesota. You need a wing built for a micro, midget, sprint car, whatever you got. Go ahead and get her built. My Race Pass. If you don't have it and you're into racing, you're behind. You need to get it. Kaiser Wheels down here just in Alton, Iowa. Be Wiser by Kaiser. Kudum Auto Sales over in Inwood, Iowa. RK Insulation also over in Inwood, Iowa. Huset Speedway, which is just up the road from us. We love to go there. Nice little short track. I gotta laugh. Bud's getting a blankie. He's cold. I'm sorry, Bud. I had to say it. Falcons Brothers Trucking for all they do for us and for racing in general. And we keep forgetting to mention that if you need some livestock moved around the country, go ahead and give Trim a call.
Absolutely.
I never mentioned
Any
that.
time of the night, too.
Yeah.
He would love to get him that.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
I don't know if he answers at night. And then we always like to thank Hero Haven for all they do with the vets and the first responders. And, of course, Lumber Lounge and Garage with the bench racing with Shane and Snow.
All right, here we go. Hey, we're back at Hoagie's Garage for our third podcast of the night. And this is another one that Steve, and I'm sure Rick will help us out with his last name.
Porzio.
Yes.
Were we close?
Yeah, you're right on.
Oh,
Yes.
and we have Rick Horn on. How you doing tonight, Rick?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Your name is maybe one of the easiest names that we've been able to say.
Yeah, my folks was real poor when I was born. They couldn't afford very many letters.
Oh, heck, Steve's even watching. Good thing we got his name right. Oh, man.
You bet. So, Rick, tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into all this racing stuff. Who are you? Married, single? What do y'all got going on?
I'm just a simple dude from the slow part of southeast Kansas, where there's not really much to do except work or I guess socialize. It's just a simple, honest part of the world. And if you want something, you're typically about 100 miles from it. So you either got to go to Wichita, Kansas City, Tulsa, or Joplin.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Little old Lester, Iowa, we're at. It's a pretty simple part, too. But we only got to drive about 20 miles to get to Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
Right. The more I travel across the country, the more I see we're not alone. This is not the only place like that.
No.
Our country is like this in a lot of places.
Yeah. You like that as much as we like this.
Yeah.
I don't need to be in a big city ever. So,
Not at all. I love to travel. I enjoy traveling, going and doing things, but I'm typically just excited to come home as I was to go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, coming home is always good to get back in your own bed and just relax. And vacation's fun, but it always got to end.
Yeah. So.
And I'm usually tired when I come home.
So, Rick, how did you first get started into racing? And how old were you when you got started?
I was a gearhead. You know, my dad was mechanically inclined, and so just by natural presence, probably, I had a mechanic mind, and I started in the high school years, putting together a 70 Challenger. I think it was about my sophomore year, and we pulled a motor, my dad and I, out of a 60-something station wagon, and I rebuilt that 440 with the local parts stores and a couple buddies. I think it would have been my junior year of high school. So I was off and running at a pretty young age, but that was all about more street drag racing and just hanging out, being cool.
Yeah. Well, you got a Challenger. It's pretty easy to be cool in a car like that.
Oh man, it was. I was a Mopar or no car kind of guy, and we did have a great local dirt track, Humboldt Speedway, that had been in place for probably 20 years by that time. But I just wasn't about the circle track stuff. Those were boneheads tearing stuff up. I was more about drag racing and, street racing, that kind of thing. So I really didn't get into the roundy round stuff until the middle 90s or so. I got to run in with some guys rebuilding their pony stock motors, which was 4-cylinder motors back in those days. And my uncle had raced. My dad kind of got into racing a little bit then, and which my dad was always a drag racer, local, real local, simple level, but a hot rodder at heart. And so now I'm down at the dirt track and getting involved, having fun there, but I was busy with life. I had a daughter. I lost my wife in '94 to cancer. We was young. We was 23, 24 years old, but I was kind of rebuilding, getting back on my feet and raising my daughter. So I could do the local stuff, but never even dreamed of anything other than that. But my daughter and I, we'd go to the Chili Bowl or we'd go to Knoxville and watch those big races, or NASCAR. But I was a local person at that point in time.
Yeah.
And I think it was early 2000s I built a modified. It took me 2 or 3 years of accumulating parts. Back in that day, it was an A-mod. And I run it for a few years local, within 100 miles or so. But, man, just for a single guy that really didn't do the sponsor thing, I couldn't do that. So, so the race car parked, and I got to working, raising a daughter, and I had also bought our local tavern in my little town of Colony, and kind of a second job. I don't know what you want to call it. Just something for fun. wasn't really a big drinker myself, but it was a good social thing.
Yep.
And kept me in the social pipeline, and in a little town of like 300 or 400 people, everybody loves you. You're a good guy, and that always meant a lot to me.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And we not to interrupt you here, Jim, but we have to agree with you there on the little town, because we talked to a lot of people on the show, and we ask them where they're from, and it's just a small town, and they mention the name, so we have to ask how small, and they'll say, like 40,000 people, and we're like, no, see, that's a big city almost to us, because
that's metro.
Lester's 250.
Right on. That's very similar to here. We had my tavern. I closed it though, like in 18. It just wasn't working, and with my regular kind of work, my regular work was more important. So I just kind of had to shut it down. But yeah, this little old town's got a bank. It's got a 1A high school with about 12 to 16 kids in each class. Super good school. I'm very proud of it. My daughter got a great education there and went on to become a nurse practitioner.
Okay.
I'll wear you out bragging about my kid. She's a wonderful person.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's the way it should be.
No. So I'm super proud of where I'm from.
Yep. Where's she a nurse practitioner at?
Brittany, she kind of went the bigger town. She is a practitioner in Topeka, Kansas, for one of the big hospital systems up there.
Yep. My wife's a nurse practitioner up in Sioux Falls. So, yep. So it's
good to have on board. She keeps me on the straight and narrow.
She's telling you, Dad, you can't keep eating that stuff.
Oh man, I'm here to tell you.
Bud's wife tells him that too, but he don't listen very well.
Hey, I've tried. I've lost like 10 pounds. So
oh boy.
Yeah, we'll see if I go any further. So
lately, then I don't know when you started, but you've got more into the car ownership type of role now, haven't you?
Yeah. I have been involved in the oil business, which is the kind of the livelihood of Eastern Kansas.
Yep.
I've been in it from about every angle, but back in 2011, I went out on my own. I own a crude oil hauling company, a trucking company, and we pick up crude out in the country or wherever it's comes out of the ground, and we haul it to an injection location. And that business has grown. I'm very proud of it. That's who I am today, and got a handful of trucks, and that at times is better than others, and it kind of afforded me to get involved in the midget world back it actually, the easy way for me to remember it is when Brad Loyette got hurt. When he hurt his hand, it was a couple of his cars that I bought.
Okay.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of it. I had been going to the Chili Bowl with my good pals, Dayton Sotheby and Merrill Lamb, and then different friends would go with me from time to time. But we sat in the front row right under the announcer for forever. Rodney Ferris, another guy local here, and just actually a whole bunch of us kind of sit there on that front stretch for several years, enjoying a great time. And along the way, I was like, man, I'd just sure love to own one of these cars and bring it here every year and have a good time. And the guys, they nowadays, they kind of tease me about that. They used to laugh and kid at me a little bit about it, but here we are, 10 years later and taken, I think this year, I think I had 6 midgets down there and I've had some really, really cool people drive my cars through the years. I've drove some, but it just works out. I'm probably a better car owner or a better pit guy than I am a driver.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be me and Bud. Well, we wouldn't be a good pit guy probably, but we can scrape mud.
Yeah. What?
Right.
So who are some of your drivers? Or, and then maybe who did, you said 6 this year, maybe mention who those all were.
Yeah. I kind of got to running with one of the icons of the industry, Flea Ruzick. Now it's been 6 or 8 years ago, and we partner on a lot of stuff. And then we got another buddy, Sean Wood, that we kind of do some sprint car stuff with now as well. But so far as the drivers, man, I don't want to leave anybody out, but I'm going to do my best here.
Yeah,
they'll
understand listening to our show because we forget stuff all the time, so you don't have to feel bad at that. So,
now this year was Bryson Smith, who would be the younger brother of Wesley Smith. Wesley has drove my cars off and on for several years, but Wesley got a neat opportunity to work with Jerry Petty this year, so he stepped over there, and so we had Bryson Smith. We had Henry Chambers, who's a former Shrine patient. He's drove sprint cars and midgets for me here now for a handful of years. Let's see, Alex Vandervoort from up at Knoxville.
oh, yep.
Yeah, really super good kid. Mike Profit, his grandpa, has become a good friend. We've housed a sprint car out of Mike's garage during the Nationals with Sammy Swindell driving it up there. Let's see, who's our other guys? Let's see, Austin Wood out of Memphis or Germantown, Tennessee. It's his dad, Sean, that's another kind of partner in crime on some of this race stuff. And then there was an Austin Langenstein from Indianapolis. He's like a seatbelt and race suit dealer, super good dude. We had John Murdy slated to drive and had early engine problems. He's a kid from Australia that we've palled up with the last several years. Brendan Wisely, another former Shrine kid, he was going to drive but got sidelined at the last minute with a job situation. Harley White has drove with us several times. She's a former Shrine kid. Let's see, out on the West Coast, Jake Andriotti, kind of one of the real solid drivers in the midget world and some sprint car stuff on the West Coast. He's drove down there with us before. Of course, Merrill Lamb, he was my first guy. AJ Johnson, a kid out of Iowa, drove with me down there one year.
Yep, he runs Knoxville regularly.
Yeah, he's from Oski, the next town over. Doggone, there's a fella from up in Iowa that's run midgets with me. I'll try and remember his name a little later. Super good kid, but just hasn't much been on the scene lately. I haven't seen him in a while. I don't know. There's several.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Like we can't remember who we have on our show either, so we screw up all the time. But we did have one gentleman chime in here, Derek Caldwell. Caldell.
Uh,
He says the legend Rick Horn.
Derek is a son by marriage. I did try the marriage thing after I'd lost my wife back in the 90s. I married Derek's mother in the early 2000s, and we kind of had a short run at it, but still are friends today. We get along. We just wasn't as happy married as we was dating or being friends. But Derek is just simply the son I never had on my own. Him and I talk daily, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. He's involved in racing. He's got a couple modifieds, a B mod, and what we call a Midwest mod. And of course, that spurred me to get another car going. So I put together a Midwest mod here a few years ago, just so I could spin his ass out. I wanted to go race when he was running. Derek is an awesome kid, an incredible dad, and definitely somebody I'm super proud to be able to call my son.
So what you're saying, you're always looking forward to that time you can get your car lined up behind Derek at the start of the heat race or something.
I think this is how the interview goes.
The both of us would much rather start behind the other than in front, because we know what's coming.
The interview goes, well, how'd you do tonight? I don't know. I didn't even finish the race, but neither did Derek.
It was a good night.
Right. He's got a son coming up now. I'm really anxious. One of these days, we'll get Cooper. We'll get him cutting his teeth, and if I've got a car, he's going to be in it. You can count on that.
That's awesome.
So,
and maybe even one of his daughters. She's an animal with steering wheel too. So you never know.
No, you never know. I tell you what, the girls in racing, that has greatly increased, and there's been some really talented ones gone through in the last, they've been around a long time, but there's been a lot of them, it seems like, the last 10 years even.
Oh, absolutely. I've been front row seat to a lot of those girls in Oklahoma. Holly Holland, just the beginning, and Harley White, like I mentioned earlier. Some incredibly talented girls coming out of these cars.
Guarantee I ain't racing against them. Not even on a go-kart track. I'm going to lose.
Right.
Just for my own interest, Rick, I want to jump back. You said you got the trucking business where you're hauling the crude.
Yep.
Explain to me just a little bit. Bud took me to Colorado a while back, so you see the pumps out in the middle of the field. Do they just have like a 1,000-gallon tank or a 5,000-gallon tank that they fill, and then you would show up there, or how does that work? I'm just curious.
That is, by principle, that's how it works. They've got typically a 100-barrel or a 200-barrel or a 400-barrel. Those are your generic sizes, but yes, they pump it out of the ground. They run it through a knockout to separate the water or BS, what we call it. And so the oil then goes to a stock tank. The water goes to a water tank. And we come pick up that oil.
Okay. And then you would drive down the road, because then we've seen some bigger places with the pipeline sticking up, and then you said inject it, so then it goes into the pipeline, which end up at a refinery.
Which ends up typically at Cushing, Oklahoma, where they can blend it or create the particular blend that a refinery would want, and then it pipes to the refinery.
Okay. Because I didn't know. We looked at them, and I'm like, okay, now all these can't be hooked up to a pipeline somewhere.
No. That's pretty much how it works. There are oil wells. There's some in western Kansas that are on gathering systems or on pipelines. And way back in the old days, when oil flowed a little heavier, in the initial onset, there was a lot of gathering systems, even in my small part of the country, that would go to other locations and because there used to be a lot more small refineries throughout our small communities.
Yeah. So then one other question, because I'm an idiot, and I'm interested, so I'm sorry. We get sidetracked periodically. We don't always talk about racing. They always talk about barrels of oil, barrels of crude. Is a barrel, I think of a barrel, a 55-gallon drum. How many gallons are in a barrel when they talk barrels of crude?
Well, a petroleum barrel of crude is 42 barrels. Okay. But when you and I was to buy a barrel of fuel, racing fuel, or a barrel of oil for oil changes in our vehicles, those are going to come in a 55-gallon drum.
Okay, so it's a total different barrel. It ain't in my brain,
Yeah.
I think barrel like we could buy. So, okay.
No, and I don't know that I've ever seen a 42-gallon barrel. I think that's a reference way back in the day to probably maybe some original wooden barrels, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah. And they've just never changed it.
Yeah,
Yep.
but crude oil is still today measured in barrels to the size of 42 barrels, and it's not 55.
There you go.
Well, you talk about crap going back. I read a story once a long time ago. I'll have the stats wrong and everything else. But basically, the storyline is back in the day, the Romans built roads as wide as a chariot, so as wide as 2 horses. Then came roads and rail systems, so your rails were basically built onto a road that was wide as 2 horses. And so like the jets on the Challenger and stuff, the space shuttles, would ride on the rail, and they could only be so wide. So basically, they were like wide as 2 horses' asses or something. Well, the story I read one time, because it all goes back to where it started, and they just never changed. So a rail line is like as wide as 2 horses, or something.
Yeah.
So like the same type of thing with the barrel. Now people
Yeah,
can laugh
yeah.
at me because my
I
story.
should. That's not the first time I've been asked or had that discussion, and I've just never slowed down and looked up as to what that reason is. But I guarantee you, without a doubt, there's a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
And I apologize for not knowing better.
No,
I'm
that's
going to
all
look
right.
it up when we get off the show.
I can go home. I go home and Google it tonight when I'm back home watching the race. So
You
I'll look it up now because now I was curious. Things pop in my head. But anyways, we do call this a racing podcast, so we should go back to racing.
Yeah. So who's all driving for you now, or what does a summer look like for you?
Right. Well, they've changed a little bit. We've been far more on the midget side since I kind of started doing this back in, I think it was 16 or 17. But the last 2 or 3 years started putting together sprint cars, 305 cars, a non-wing car, some 410 wing stuff. And again, that's more of a partnership with my other buddies, Flea Rusick and Sean Wood. And we've had some really fun times. We got through Flea and through Sean, we got piled up with Sammy, Swindell running up at Knoxville. And last year was our second year of doing that. They built a special car, did a bunch of funny stuff, did some coilover things, and we've really had a lot of fun up there. We've run at the Ditch, we've run at Charlotte, we've run at a lot of other tracks other than just Knoxville, just kind of trying to figure out this car and the coilover thing. But last discussion with the guys was this year with Sammy's 50th Knoxville National. We're going back to kind of a standard 4-bar car, going to run him a handful of shows and really try and make a good run at Knoxville this year. Not experimenting or nothing.
Yep.
Again, we've really been doing this for fun and just camaraderie. But man, we took that unique car that they had built for Sammy with a raised
Extra
left
shock
rail.
and everything else on it. And
Oh yeah, we took it to a wind tunnel back when we went to run at the World Finals in Charlotte. We took that car and spent a full day at the wind tunnel and just learned an incredible amount of how the two wings work together and how the car works as it yaws and the amount of downforce involved. So again, just another really cool day spent learning and doing something I would have never done.
yeah.
So that's the Sammy thing, and of course that's opened doors. It's gotten us in to meet and work with Al Parker quite a little bit, and Jerry Petty, the Avante guy. He's a Sammy fan. He's helped us out quite a little bit, different times.
Yeah.
Just simply because he's a Sammy fan. He loves what we're doing, and he's just a super great guy.
Yep. So you're running Al Parker's motors, then I'm assuming.
Well,
Or is he just helping?
Al has worked. He's definitely massaged some of the motors over
Yeah.
up there. We picked up a couple motors from a fella up in way north. Well, he'd be getting close to your way. Bob Martin. Does that name ring a bell to you?
Bob Martin. We've got a Martin, but I don't think
Okay.
it's Bob. But
Bob splits time between way up there in the Dakotas and Florida. He's got a son, Torrey Martin, that he was a Shrine kid also, so we kind of connected a little bit that way. But we got a couple motors off Bob, but then Al has kind of massaged him over and made him great again, you know. But then I think Sean picked up a motor off of Sheldon Hodenshield, a beast of a motor, and I think Al's tweaked on it a little bit, but man, Sammy's the guy. Sammy's the guy that'll put the super tune to it.
sure. Well, he's been doing it long enough. He's going to have something figured out.
Oh, that guy's sharp.
Yep. Doug Martin.
And
is the name I'm
fun.
trying to think of.
Who's that?
Doug Martin was the one that used to
Doug
race out
Martin.
here.
Yep.
Now, this guy that I'm talking about, he's a sprint car driver.
Yep.
I think he still gets in once in a while. He has a 360 program that I think maybe he runs some down in Florida.
Okay.
But anyway, just another super dude.
Sure.
You know, he's kind of busy. I think he's like a helicopter scheduler or something like that.
Sure. So jumping back just a little bit, you talk about Flea all the time, and I always thought it'd be fun to get Flea on the show, and I'd have to ask him how he got his name. I smile. every time somebody
Yeah,
says Flea. There's
I
gotta be a
don't know if
story
you're
to it.
gonna. Well, yeah. How he got the name is cool. He loves to tell that story, but I don't think he'd mind if I shared that one with you. Flea, as a little kid, he drove quarter midgets, and a little bitty guy could barely see over the steering wheel. And the story I remember him telling me was his grandfather named him that because there he was sitting with his goggles behind the steering wheel, just could barely see over the top. He said, "You just look like a little flea sitting
Little
there."
Flea trying to see something. Okay.
Yeah.
I figured
So
there had
that's
to be a
his
story
part.
with it.
Yep.
What's that?
There had to be a story with it. I knew that, but
Yeah. That's the beef of it. But,
Yep.
but yeah, you ought to get a hold of Flea. Flea's a fun guy to talk to. You just never know. That guy's got more stories than even he can remember.
we'd love to have him on. You drop a good word for us next time you talk to him.
Okay.
Tell
All
him
right.
what
Well,
great guys we are.
we're headed to Florida here in just whatever it be, a week or so. We've got JJ Yaley going to split some time between what he's got going with NASCAR and our non-wing car.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if we're going to get to run Volusia. That was the original plan. But then Ocala follows right behind that. So we're just going to hopefully get a few nights in. We got to run JJ over at Lucas there at Wheatland last year and kind of kick their butts up one side and down the other. We had a really good time.
Yep.
But
That's another
JJ,
one.
there's another super dude that's
Yep.
just,
He's been racing for a long time too already.
oh man, yeah, and just one of the neatest, the nicest, most fun dudes to be around. Hard working. He's too bad the world don't have more JJ Yaleys in it because he's a class act in a lot of ways.
And
Yeah.
how did you come about getting him to drive for you?
No, I get zero credit on that. This has everything to do with Flea. He's just in that pipeline.
Yep.
You know, I know there's a long back history with building pieces and cars for guys, and with JJ's dad Jack. I know there's been some involvement there at the Chili Bowl there, but you know, people gravitate towards Flea. He's just that dude that everybody likes to visit with and bounce things off of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, when you're smart, as what I've heard, Flea is, people are going to want to ask him questions and see what he says.
Oh yeah, because he can, and he don't have to bullshit you. He knows.
Yep.
He knows so much about these cars. He's worked with multiple chassis builders through the years. You know, kind of been their production foremans and stuff like that. He's just got it figured out.
Yep. Glad somebody does that. Puts on a great show for us that don't know anything.
So
Right. Yeah, he's fun. You ask him a question about maybe a reason why the chassis is this way, and man, he'll just look you straight in the eye and tell you and be ready for your next question.
yeah.
Go right over top our head, bud.
Right.
But it would be interesting as hell. It'd be fun.
So
Yeah.
you have said that a few of your drivers have come from the Shriners. So explain your involvement with Shriners and what you all do.
Yeah, that's the fun part of the story. I got involved in the Masons and the Shrine back in the early 2000s. It was actually Derek Caudell's. It was his grandpa that brought me in as I was dating Derek's mother. I asked the question one day about some of the stuff hanging on his wall. This would be, again, Derek's grandpa. I just kind of asked, what's that all about? And he just got that biggest smile and said, well, let me show you. And that's kind of how it is with the Masonry. You have to ask.
Yeah.
And then it just goes from there. Well, I did get super involved. It was just good timing for me. It was what I was evidently looking for and didn't even know it. But started opening up lots of doors to lots more friends and people of all ages and vocations across the country. And I got pretty heavily involved with like our transportation to the hospital programs and things like that. So then I started getting more involved with different patients at some of our marquee events, our big golf tournament out in Vegas. And we got in racing. I got involved with the Shriners Children's Motorsports Committee for several years and kind of helped with some recommendations there. And we had a good run. We named a few races for a while in NASCAR, some Xfinity races, and eventually the Cup race out in Phoenix for a couple years. And again, just started getting to meet more people that way. The Glen, we named that Xfinity race one year, and so got to meet some guys up there. And each of those places, I'm always big about reaching out to some of the other Shriners in that area and getting them involved, which is kind of what we should do anyways. But that just keeps opening doors, and so now, through 20 years of that, it's just really involved to. I just feel like I know somebody everywhere, whether it's because of the Shrine or Masons or racing or something.
Yeah. Well, that would be the legend part that Derek was talking about.
Oh yeah.
But no, that's really cool that there's people like you that are helping with that sort of thing, because it's an amazing organization, and like you said, to get to know people throughout the country that are involved in the same thing, it's got to be a thrill for you.
Oh man, it really, really is. I got to tell you a funny story about how I met one of the kids. This kid was Brendan Wisely out of Sand Springs, Oklahoma, and this goes back about 5, 6, 7 years up at Granny Valley, Missouri, just a little bitty dirt track east of Kansas City. But there was a Power Eye National Midget Show going on there, and I happened to notice this kid working on a car had a prosthetic, and I just, you got to be careful because all the HIPAA and all that, everybody, you never know who you're talking to, but sometimes you just can't resist. And so I did. I bumped the question on him, and he just turned and he smiled from ear to ear. Because I asked him, I said, dude, have you dealt with Shriners on your prosthetic by any chance? And he just went to smiling, and we was just instant buddies. Brendan's about 22, 23 years younger than I am. So at that time, he's a upper teenager.
Yeah.
But man, we become pals because he had been back in like 13 or 14. He was our national ambassador. He's the kid that went to the Rose Bowl parade. He went to the East-West football game. He went everywhere that year, and our commercials was him. And lo and behold, here I stumble into this guy, and so I'm asking him, hey, dude, you want to drive one of these cars? I got one sitting down here. Well, he couldn't that night because he was wrenching for Cannon McIntosh, another kid he'd grown up with down there. And
well-known name there.
But yeah, good, a heck of a driver.
Yeah.
He's won multiple championships. Locked in. I think he locked into the A main down at the Chili Bowl this year. But anyways, so that moved Brendan and I. We got together and we've run lots of midget shows. Brendan's run a 305 car with me a handful of times, and just become now going to be a lifelong friend.
So had he driven before you asked him, or he just?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he grew up like driving micros. His dad was a sprint car driver, so he was very fluent in the racing world, far more than I was. I was pretty new in it, so he helped me.
Sure.
You know, he helped move our program forward, as did a lot of people like Wesley Smith and Jake Andriotti and several of these fellas. Chris and Corey Schutte, out of Springfield, Missouri as well. Another guy that drove for us for several years and just really helped get us off the ground.
Yeah, it's amazing sometimes how one simple question can make you a lifelong friend.
Oh, that is exactly how that works.
Sometimes you just got to say hi.
Yeah.
And
Tobe has no problem doing that.
I struggle, bud.
I'm way.
Don't give me that crap either. Neither one of us are super shy if you ask our wives. My wife hates to go places with me because we got to leave a half an hour before we're supposed to leave, and we still might not make it out the door in time. That's what she tells me.
I feel you, man, but I like that part. I like being that way. I like going to Walmart and knowing, 9 out of the 10 people in there, stopping and visiting, whether I've worked with them in the past or went to school with them or they're from the same little community I'm at or something like that. I love going somewhere and knowing somebody.
Are you good at remembering names? Because that's where Tobe and I are absolutely awful. My wife will go, who are you talking to for so long? And it'd be like, I have no idea. I don't know his name.
No, we met him last year or something,
That can happen, and it does happen. I'm not gonna say it don't, but usually I may not remember the name at the first of the conversation, but by the time it's over, I've got the dots connected, and it's a Shriner I've met here or there. One way or another, there's usually a way to get it figured out.
Yeah, that's what I like about the racing community. Even you can just walk up to a guy, hey, that's a really cool shirt, and you might have a 15-minute conversation.
Oh yeah, the racing community is a super cool group. It's a family type atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's so cool. Like providing we do get to go on down to Florida, like we are, we'll get down there and we're going to know 90% of the people in the pits for one reason or another.
Sure.
And so, it's like a traveling circus in a roundabout way.
Yeah. Yep. Kind of.
Yeah.
That's kind of a good way to put it. A little bit.
Yeah, it is. And again, that really fits my personality because like I said, I enjoy going somewhere, being part of things and having a good time and knowing people. The coolest thing, one of the coolest things for me is when I get back to the Chili Bowl is all these people now that I know, to be able to walk through the pits and shake people's hands and, how you been. And it's just my personality. It works real well for me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can't blame that. That's why we're getting along so good.
So was it last year that Shipley and JJ were both on the podium at one of the big races?
Yeah, that was down. Well, was that this year? I know Shipley was there at Lucas. I think he ran second or third with us at Lucas there at Wheatland.
Yes, I think that's it. Was that is it the Hockett? What race?
Yeah. The Hockett McMillan. Yes, yeah. It's a non-wing / and then they usually have a winged event with it. I think this next year the high limit guys are going to be there, so that'll Casey Schumann has really taken hold. He's the promoter down there now, and I think that's just going to continue to do more great things. That Hockett McMillan was a big deal, anyways. It just seemed to a lot of times fall when USAC was somewhere else. I think USAC was at Eldora during the Hockett this year, but still had a few of those guys come down and run it.
Yeah. What you talked a little bit. JJ's going to race. Hopefully here in the next week or so. But what are your plans this year? Who's racing for you? What's all the plans?
I hope, and I would think that we get JJ back at the Hocket again in September. That'll be we actually had Sammy down there this year as well, but uncovered a motor problem that had carried over from Knoxville just a few weeks prior. Otherwise, Sammy would have ran with us down there, and we'd have probably, I have no doubt we probably would have been on the podium with Sammy at Wheatland as well. I don't know if that'll be the plan this year. Our goals with Sammy as we speak are to get through Knoxville, and we'll see where we stand then. I know Flea has had, I think, Reese Moran in that sprint car a time or two, and there might be, somebody else here and there. So again, we do it for fun. We get a little help from time to time from a few great people. There's a fellow out of Texas with Eclipse Consulting that helps us a little bit with Sammy, as well as Jerry Petty, with Avante. Yep. So we aren't really sponsored, with the exception of those two guys. They like to help us out with JJ and Sammy.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned Reese Moran. We had him on a while back. He hooked us up with a box of the rainbow nut butter, and that stuff gets addicting. I don't know if you've tried that, but
oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that connection. I want to say Reese's dad has had Flea build some chassis of some sort, and so that kind of connected some dots, and Flea had Reese running some shows with us. But you just never know. Again, Flea knows everybody in the world, and,
oh yeah,
and
yep.
Sean knows people as well. So there's no real set plan that I know of this year. We just, as time goes by, we get an idea we want to do something, we bounce it off one another and see if we can make it work.
That's awesome.
Sounds like a great way to do it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I for one, I'm not a points or series kind of person. That would ruin it for me.
Sure. Yep.
I love, my business. I have to pay attention to that. My puppies at home. I don't like being away from them too much. My mother. I really look after my mother a lot. I just don't like being away from home that much. I like finding a balance one way or another. I've got my shop here I like to spend time with, and my shrine. I'm still super heavily involved with the shrine and with Masons. So I've just got to keep that balance, where you just kind of hit and miss here and there and keep it fun instead of wearing it out.
Yep. Well, as long as it's fun, that's main. Kind of like we used to play softball, but I played when it was fun. When the shoulder went bad and the fun was leaving, then it was time to quit.
Yeah, it's that simple.
Yep.
And that's how racing works for me as well. I don't go full bore or full time, because it would ruin it. It would become work or a job, and none of us need any more of that.
No, I hear you there.
Absolutely. Well, I think we'll get to our rapid fire questions.
Yep.
And if there's anything else that we didn't cover, we sure can. But what's your favorite kind of ice cream?
Not a huge ice cream guy, but I'd say Wendy's the twist.
Yep.
No, yeah, you can't go wrong with a twist cone.
Right.
Just had one last week, one day, bud.
Here we go. This is the question.
This is the one. This is the one we've been waiting for. This one. You a cat or a dog person?
Oh, 100% dog. I like sharing my wieners with everybody. I've got 4 miniature wieners, and a lot of people on the racing trail, the shrine trails. They all, because I take these kids with me every chance I get, and all my friends, most all of them, they love seeing them as well. They like my Facebook pictures of them and things like that. But not a cat person at all. Got no use for cats. I don't even keep a cat around my shop to keep rid of the mice.
So a miniature wiener dog, how little is that thing then? Because a wiener dog itself ain't big.
Right. They like 12 to 14 pounds typically is an adult size. I've got a new little guy, and you'll appreciate this. I got three of the wieners are rehomes that came when they were young. This last one, he was only 8 months old. His owner had died, so just kind of got shuffled and ended up at my house, but named him after JJ. So his name's JJ, and Yaley, he gives me a hard time about him. He asked me why I named him JJ. He said, what's he, shit all over the place and tear everything up he touches? Said, no, man, he's like you. He's just cool. He's cool to have around.
So what are the other three names?
Yeah, the other one, the next older one's name is Sammy, and of course
There you go.
he come to me when we was racing a lot with Sammy Swindell, and so the funny reason why I named him Sammy is as soon as I got him, he would go to playing with the other dogs, he'd kind of run into the pile and just turn and block them out with his body, kind of like slamming to him. So man, he from the get go was slamming Sammy.
Slamming Sammy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, and then the little girl, I had to drive clear out to Southwest Utah to get her. My lady, she actually owned the first little wiener dog, and as we started dating back in like 13 or 14, that little guy attached to me real hard, and so she was kind of boo-hooing about wanting a little girl dog, so she found this little dapple miniature female. And I loaded my mother up, took her on a vacation. We went out over, of course, through Denver and down to Southwest Utah, picked her up, then up through Vegas and up through California, met a family member in San Francisco. But also along that trip, I saw, I think it was 3 different hospitals. The Sacramento Shrine Hospital, the Southern California Shrine Hospital, and then the Salt Lake City Shriners Hospital. And then we also, of course, had to go out on the salt flats and join the 100-mile-an-hour club. But it was quite a fun trip, Took my mother and we did a lot of fun stuff. And anyways, that was the Roxy. We named that one Roxy. I think I come up with that name while we was on Fremont Street, showing Mom what all that weird stuff was all about. Or no, it was Hollywood, because we walked on the Stars of Hollywood. That's where I come up with the name Roxy.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. And then the old man Rivers, Rudy, he was already named before my lady and I got together, but he's my pal. But man, I think the world of the puppies.
That's awesome.
You mentioned Fremont Street. I was lucky enough that Fulkins took me there last year to the races, and that's an eye-opener when you come from a town of 250 people.
Oh man, yeah, my mom wasn't having it. She did her best to say, okay, let's get the hell out of here.
I happened to strike up a conversation with a gentleman. He was sitting at a table by himself by the window, and I said, pretty nice seats you got here. Yeah, I think he was from Nebraska, I believe. And he says, yep, I've been sitting here for an hour now just watching the people walk by. My wife and the group, they're back here gambling somewhere. He says, I'm just sitting here enjoying the show, he said.
Absolutely.
We was doing okay until Mom saw like this, I don't know what you call it, but it was like a chick dressed like a nun, with high heels and the leggings and shit like that.
Yep.
Once Mom saw that, she just couldn't handle it. She's way too simple for that. So that was the end of the road on Fremont Street.
Yep, I believe you.
Do you have any hobbies? Are you a golfer or anything like that?
I do enjoy playing golf. Again, that's kind of a lot of times with the shrine function.
Sure.
I played it. I started learning that game, when I worked second shift years ago. Some of us would go play golf during the day before we went to work. So yeah, I do enjoy playing golf.
You any good at it?
Oh, I'm good enough that it's fun, but not good enough where I get mad. If I hit a bad shot, I don't even get mad. I just drop another ball and hit another ball.
Then we can go golfing sometime, because that's exactly how we do it. I go by the weeds and I look in there a little bit. Nope, I don't see mine. Drop another one.
No, that's called shrine golf.
Yep.
Maybe it needs a little foot wedge to get a little better lie.
Yep. Get it away from that rock or that tree.
Right.
Yep. Perfect.
Right. And if you're putting it and it didn't go in and it should have, you either count it went in or you hit it again.
Yep.
Whatever it takes to make the day good.
It's a gimme. Count that one.
Yeah.
How about when you're sitting around at night dogs are sitting on your lap. You got a favorite movie you like to watch or anything?
Oh yeah, for sure. I wish I knew how many times I've watched Smokey and the Bandit or Convoy or
Yep.
comedy movies. I don't get into like murder type shows or nothing like that.
Yep.
It's always going to be a comedy or a hot rod show. Something along that line.
Yep.
You bet. Do you prefer snow or rain?
Neither.
There you go.
They both make my life harder. The rain or snow will both get a big truck stuck
Yep.
and make me worry. I'm sitting here now worried. I think all my trucks are off the road for tonight, but you worry enough as it is. But then you throw those elements out there, and
Yep.
it just makes everything worse.
Yeah.
And when them trucks get stuck, you don't go out there with the pickup and a little tow strap and pull them out.
No, very rarely does that work.
Yep. Yep. If you were going to be stranded on an island, what type of music would you have to have along to listen to pass the time?
You know what? I can listen to almost everything, and I always have. Even as a kid, I listened to Oak Ridge Boys and Twisted Sister and Def Leppard and AC/DC and
You just named a ton of good groups right there, man.
yeah.
You're covering it all right there.
Yeah, the closest thing to rap I could say I've ever appreciated would be Aerosmith. Dude looks like a lady. That's going to be about as close as I get to rap. But
There you go.
the new country I really haven't ever adapted to.
No. No.
But man, I've been to a lot of cool, fun concerts, and don't regret really any of them. I can appreciate most music.
There you go. Do you have a favorite place to go out to eat?
I've got lots of them, man. I think my favorite burger joint is over in Wichita, Kansas, called Bionic Burger. They got the best. Even though I'm not huge on fries, they just got a great burger and great fries. I like barbecue, so Kansas City's just got tons of options there.
Yep.
Texas Roadhouse. I can get a great steak and broccoli at Texas Roadhouse. So I've just done with the fast food, though. I can't hardly stomach that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
How many of them damn buns you got to eat when you go to Texas Roadhouse? Because half the time I can go home after they bring me my food and I just put it in the go box.
Oh, yeah, very identical. Those things are delicious. But who's counting?
That's
Yeah.
right.
But like I said, you just bring me my meal in the go box. I'll eat that tomorrow again. I've had enough buns. I should quit.
Right.
You never do.
Right.
I mean, I still eat it, but
It's delicious, man. I make Rhodes, those frozen rolls that thaw out. You can make a pretty daggum good roll there. Let that sucker rise and then bake it, and I'll make those once in a while. But I'm diabetic. I've got those issues, so I don't eat bread quite like I used to. But I do like it as a treat once in a while.
no, well, I still eat too much of it. Are you good fresh bread? You take a fresh baked loaf of bread, warm out of the oven. I haven't had one in years, but start slicing that and
What the
smearing
hell's
that,
Ann doing?
smearing that full of butter. You just
Yeah,
eat the whole loaf.
Yeah, my mom will make bread every once in a while, and it's its own
And the house
treat.
smells so dang good.
Yeah, yeah. You might be in luck, but I don't know if the wife's watching or not on this one, so you might be in luck on that one. How about a favorite holiday, Rick?
Most of them, it really. I don't even have to have a holiday to have a good time. As long as the kids are going to be around. My girlfriend, we enjoy our holidays together. But making sure my daughter can come to town and her boyfriend and Derek, like we spoke of earlier.
Yep.
My sisters. I don't care if it's 4th of July or Christmas or Memorial. Memorial weekend was always fun because as a kid, we'd go to the lake, so that was a big deal. But I'd probably lean a little bit to 4th of July just because the weather's good and it's the beginning of the month, so my trucking busy is not not riding herd on me.
Yeah.
You know, they can take, I can usually give them guys the day off, and the trucks can park and everybody can have fun. So I guess I'm going to go with that. Let's say 4th of July.
Absolutely.
Sounds to me like any day can be a holiday for you if the friends are around. And that's
Oh,
a hell of a way to do it.
Yeah. How many speeding tickets do you have?
Oh, dude. You know, as of lately, the last 10 or maybe 20 years, not very many. I could probably almost count those on one hand. But you remember me saying earlier that 70 Challenger?
Yeah, yeah.
Back in the 80s, thank God they didn't keep track of things the way they do nowadays, or I wouldn't have been driving. Man, my console was so full of tickets. I used to laugh about it. I bragged about it. I could show that stack of tickets, and they was all, you know, nothing from hurting anybody, but exhibition accelerations and speeding. And just, I don't think I've ever had a parking ticket in my life, but man, I've had my share of speeding tickets back in the day. I think I was on high risk insurance within a couple months of getting my license.
Failure to maintain control when you're sliding around on the snow up here is a fairly popular one back in the day.
Yeah. I got popped for doing donuts in a park years ago, but I don't remember getting a ticket for that one.
Yeah. My brother got a failure to maintain control one time. We went around the corner. I think we were in our old 62 at that time, sliding around the corner, and the cop's sitting down at the corner. And we're like, well, we were in control. We stopped the slide as soon as we saw you, but we didn't say that to him, but that's what we're thinking. But
yeah, I think my all-star ticket, I had just turned 21 years old and had gotten off work at midnight. So I went to the bar to hang out with the workers a little bit. And then afterwards, and these were some of my buddies rode motorcycles. So I, of course, being the nut that I am, I had a Yamaha VMAX.
Yep.
And so I leave the bar, and I hadn't had but maybe 2 beers or something. But here I am, a little 140 or 50 pound kid, just barely 21, and I'm just catching up with them because they got ahead of me. This is in Iola, a little bit bigger town of about 4,000 or 5,000 people. It's got a big 2-block square. You know, it's 2 blocks on every side, and so I was just kind of catching up with them guys, and then I traveled on a few more blocks, 4 or 5 more blocks, pulled in to get gas, was about done filling my tank up, and cop pulls in, and come to find out he had shot me back there on the square. He said doing 85, and I think he's full of crap. I don't think there's any way I was doing 85, but I might have been doing 40 or something, or 45, but he was at a bad angle. He was lying about it. I'll still to this day say that, but yes, I was speeding, and that was speeding, reckless driving, and ended up being a diversion for a DUI. But yeah,
that was a bad one.
Yeah, that wasn't cool. But back in those days, you take a diversion and pay more high risk insurance for a few years, and there you are. But it's just not the same nowadays, man.
Well, no, this next question. I've been waiting for this. This
question could be really good.
Because one of your drivers, Sammy, we had him on the show, and I don't remember the exact number, but he was over 200 mile an hour with his boss hog, he told us.
Lovely. That doesn't surprise me.
No. So anyways, what the question is, what's the fastest you've ever driven down the highway or ridden with somebody down the highway?
There's a couple scenarios there that are identical. One of them was back in those crazy young days when I was hauling hay. I remember riding on the back of a guy's motorcycle in a pair of sunglasses, swimming trunks, and flip-flops. It was a 1000 Hurricane, and he took off hauling ass, and he says we was doing 170 miles an hour. But I wouldn't know because I couldn't see. I couldn't open my eyes. We were going so fast. But and then I hear, actually not that long ago, I was late to a Shrine Bowl. It's a football game that I'm director for here in Kansas. I was on my way to Wichita. I was running just a little bit behind, and so I was making up some ground between here and Wichita, and I think I had a picture snapped at about 160 in I got an 04 Corvette, and I know I was kind of rolling up there just to make it funny, but I took a picture of it and sent it ahead to the executive director and said, "Look, man, I'm doing all I can." So when I walk into that meeting, that picture's on
Up on the big screen?
jumbotron. Oh yeah,
Hey, Rick made it.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So, well, I got to ask though. You mentioned doing the salt flats to get the 100-mile-an-hour club. What'd you get up to out at the Bonneville?
I've been there a couple different times. In that car, that was in an Impala, just a nothing car, but we was probably 110 or 15.
Okay.
But then a couple years ago, we had our big Shrine Imperial session out at Reno. A good buddy of mine who's the guy that handles all our social media, Mike Geilinger, for the Shriners Children's Racing that we promote. He had taken, I've got a couple of ex-David Reagan Cup cars.
Okay.
One of them is a full tilt, Roush Yates motored, 900 plus horsepower thing. And the other one it's an ex Cup car, but it was dummied down to a show car. And it's just got probably a 400 or 450 horse dirt modified motor in it now that we use it to parade with
Sure.
and show, stuff like that. Well, that's the one that we had out in Reno. And again, one of the Shrine patients that Owen Mahan, he's out of Indianapolis. He just turned 18. He's burnt on 100% of his body when he was an infant, but he's become a pal, goes to a lot of races with Flea and I and Sean, the Chili Bowl and lots of other places. He goes with me to these big Shrine Imperial sessions. And so we're out at Reno. We do the session. We have a good time. And now we're on our way home back to Kansas. And I'm like, man, we're driving right by Bonneville. So I'm like, dude, we got to go out there because we got a go-kart also that they had hauled out for some of the Shriners to parade in. And so Owen, he gets out there and he's riding this go-kart on the Bonneville Salt Flats while we're getting this NASCAR ready. And man, it was foolish, but I'll admit it. We had our fun. I loaded Owen in that Cup car, and we hauled ass out there across the Salt Flats. And I'm guessing a lot. I don't want to say because I don't want to incriminate myself, but
You're on the salt flats, so.
yeah, Owen's sitting beside me holding on to the roll bars, and definitely not something we should have done, but we did it. We got away with it, and everybody laughs about it now. But yeah, we become members of the Fast Club out there that day.
That's awesome.
It's a great memory to have. Let's put it that way.
It is.
Nothing
It
bad
is.
happened, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite drink or beverage?
You know what? I love unsweet iced tea.
There you go.
That's my go-to. If I'm tired, the guys with NOS energy drinks, they're always supporting our events, and so I'll grab a sugar-free NOS once in a while and kind of pep me up. I kind of like the way it tastes, but man, I just hope our world never runs out of unsweet tea.
There you go.
That's 2 iced teas today. Jim liked them too, I believe. So, last question here, Rick. We won't keep you any longer than that, but if you just won the lottery, saying you got all the damn money in the world, is there a car, a pickup, or a motorhome, or something you've always wanted, some old classic car, anything you always wanted, just didn't want to spend the money on?
Oh, geez. Probably. My dad had an old, he had a couple Corvettes back in the day. He had a 64 and a 66. It's my goal to pick up a 66 so that I can gift my daughter. She has a 75 T-top 4-speed car that she high school drag raced in.
Okay.
That we're just about to finish slicking up for her. But I'm an old Mopar dude. I got a 68 Plymouth Satellite that I started as a project with my lifelong best friend that he died of liver disease a couple years ago. We kind of started that thing. I've got a Gen 3 426 Hemi for it, so it's coming up pretty quick on a project, to get together. But you know what? I love a lot of cars. I've got a 1960 Cadillac limousine that's just about done being restored. That's going to be cool. I look forward to towing one of the sprint cars to the racetrack on an open trailer behind it. With crew all inside,
That'll have some pictures taken when you show up at the track.
Oh, for sure. That I've had a motorhome in the past, and they're fun. They got their place, So, you know, I don't know. I just love all kinds of cars, man.
Yep.
So
That's awesome.
I've drove them, you know, out there at Vegas. You know, I've drove the Ferraris and stuff like that, and they're cool and they're fun and all. But you know what? This 2004 Corvette I got is about as fun to drive as anything.
Sure.
There you go. That's great.
Yep. No,
Well-
that's perfect.
Rick, this has been an absolute blast for Tobe and I. You know, getting a chance to just, you never know where conversations are going to go. And, you know, we really appreciate the fact of everything that you do with the Shriners. And, you know, this has just been a blast.
Well, good. I'm glad we got a chance to talk. Aren't you guys? Are you from the Huset's area?
Yeah.
Is that where you're from?
We're like
Okay.
20
Well,
miles from Huset's.
Okay. Well, it's going to happen sooner or later, especially with Alex Vandervoort up there.
Yep.
You know, I think we'll make it up there one of these days. I myself would love to run, you know, something around that track. So it's coming. I just don't know when.
Well,
Yep.
we'll be there, and if you want to find us, find the old flatbed push truck, the old
Yeah.
propane pusher. That's where we are.
Or,
We got
All
an
right.
after show we do after the races, and we're there.
yeah. And,
Well, I'm pretty sure that if I do make it up there, Flea will probably be involved. So maybe we'll or Brendan or me, or it's just hard to say. Whatever we can do to have fun.
Yep, absolutely. And if nothing else, if you're at Knoxville with Sammy, we'll maybe come down. We'll be the ones walking around by Sammy's pit asking for Rick. So,
Okay, yeah, we'll be there. You can count on that.
so
you bet. Sounds
we
great.
got to get together sometimes. I'd just love to shake your hand and say hi.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been
All right.
an absolute blast for us. So thanks again, Rick. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys are the kind of friends I like having. I enjoy having fun.
Well, thank you for that. So,
You bet. We'll talk to you later.
All right, see y'all.
All right.
all right,
See ya.
bye-bye. Yeah, it came back on after you ran over there.
Yeah, it just, because it's the battery.
Yeah. We'll have to do a better job of getting her charged next.